ground warfare. All that oil could have been used to build schools and hospitals and communities, parks, libraries. But instead of using all that money to, build libraries, instead we're going around bombing the shit out of people, killing people. What are we doing?
We must stand up against big pharma and insurance companies who extort those who are sick, who put their profits above the health and well-being of our people.
So congratulations, Patriots. There's a non-binding resolution we all can get behind. Congratulations, Patriots. You won the Super Bowl. Should we do something about global warming? Fuck you. So it's not law. It's a vision, and it's a vision for the future, and I fucking love every goddamn bit.
We have to fight to make sure that every single American gets the quality health care that they need through Medicare for all.
So you got Senator Ed Markey and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. What's up? She introduced the official new Green Deal, lays out the goals and the specifics. So whereas the idea of a Green New Deal has been around, Jill Stein ran on a Green New Deal both times when she ran for president. There is now an official new Green Deal that's out on the table. There's a preamble, there's 5 goals, there's 14 projects, there's 15 requirements. So essentially, the Green New Deal by AOC is to combat global warming. So we haven't done shit about it, right? Man, bear, pig is going around, creating havoc. And 97% of the scientists agree with it. I think it's pretty much common sense that human beings are affecting the planet that they live on. Now, I also believe that the planet is resilient, so I think some of the yuppie middle-class ideas goes to fuck over the poor more than it does actually solving the crisis. But humankind is producing all this pollution, all this, all these toxic emissions are being put out in the air. The ozone layer is getting bigger. There's an overwhelming, there's the polar vortex, so the winters are getting colder and then the summers are getting hotter. So it's clear that man is, doing something to the environment. Now, this Green New Deal is so exciting. This Green New Deal is very ambitious, and it doesn't just talk about the environment. It talks about economics. It talks about the right to unionize. It talks about the universal health care. It talks about people getting adequate jobs. So let me break it down here, okay? So AOC wants in 10 years for the United States to be carbon neutral. So we have 0 carbon footprint. Now, that's very ambitious, but that comes from these warnings. I've seen that we're already too late, but apparently they're saying we still got 10 years left, and we're, the biggest producer of pollution in the entire world. So if we don't stop ourselves, nobody else will. So we have to be responsible for the future generations of not just this country but the world. So in 10 years, humanity only has 10 years to get carbon emissions under control for global warming, boils us all to death. So that's what she wants in 10 years, okay? So this is an ambitious plan, and she's starting from a position of strength. She just got in there. She's changed the entire conversation. Here are specific policy planks on their platform that she agrees on. So I'm going to list all of them. The first, I want to mention that the Democrats don't have a plan for global warming, nor do the Republicans. The Republicans, Democrats, they don't have an immigration bill. They don't have a war on poverty bill. They don't have an economic stimulus bill or a health care bill. They should be passing all these bills all the time, because even if you're against universal health care, the Republican health care bill would just be we're a capitalist market. If you get sick, then you die. Well, fuck you. You should have got a better, you should have done something different, right? So by writing a bill up, we all see where we are at that, moment in time on health care. So we're right-wing capitalists. Just let the insurance companies and the doctors and everybody just kind of fuck us over. Just whatever. C'est la vie. Laissez-faire, right? But that's not just health care, but what about poverty or economic stimulus, immigration, a war bill? You know, they had criminal justice bill, but they should be passing these kinds of bills all the time.
But we must do more. It's unacceptable that Americans pay vastly more than people in other countries for the exact same drugs, often made in the exact same place. This is wrong. This is unfair. And together.
So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ed Markey. So Ed Markey signed on to this too. They want to get all of us off of carbon, so off of oil, off of coal. And then they're going to finance those oil and coal workers so that they can transition easier too. They want a massive thrust of investments of clean energy jobs and infrastructure to decarbonize our society. So we're going to have clean energy jobs, solar, wind, right? Water, hydroelectric. We're going to try to get as much clean energy jobs possible. Everybody approves of clean energy jobs. There's one issue about nuclear power, which I'll get to in a second, but essentially, you know, how are you going to be against solar power? The sun goes on forever, and if you can charge your calculator up with solar power, who the fuck is going to argue with that? Hey, you better be using oil and coal for your calculator. It's not necessary, and it has all those horrible emissions.
Camps, $22,000. I believe $100 billion given to a council that would apply this money to economic projects and educational projects of renewal for that population is simply a debt to be paid. And until we pay it, we will deal with these issues.
They want investment for zero-emission vehicle infrastructure and manufacturing. They also want clean, affordable access to public transit and high-speed rail. So this is great for the cities. You got public transit, clean, affordable, accessible, high-speed rail. They want to get rid of the airline industry. They want to at least try to cut down all airplane travel in the United States. High-speed rail could get to everywhere in the United States just as fast, if not faster, than airplane travel. And airplane travel burns a ton of jet fuel. They believe in environmental justice, public investment, investing in research and development, investing in community ownership, investing in education and job training for the frontline communities in transition. So this plan is calling for 100% of our power to be met through clean, renewable, and zero-emission energy sources. Now, it seems like they wanted us to translate to electric cars. Electric cars is run by coal. Coal is where electric comes from, in addition to, you know, solar, but coal is the main one. So I guess they're saying electric cars over gas cars because there's no emissions. You're not pumping all that toxic emissions out into the atmosphere. Also, they want to build charging stations everywhere. So everybody that has electric cars, you can get charged up anywhere you go. So they're calling for massive infrastructure, massive public works projects.
You are not a novice to politics. You've been a political activist for years. You also ran for Congress. People don't know this, in California in 2014. What do you see as your path to victory here for the Democratic nomination? Do you think you can win?
First of all, Donald Trump is president. So this idea of predicting who can win, we should throw all of that out the window. My strategy is not strategy. My strategy is that I seek to speak as deeply, articulately, and passionately as I can what I see to be the deeper truths confronting our nation, challenging our nation to live up to them. I'm speaking from the depth of my...
So, you know, there's a lot to this. I want to mention nuclear power because nuclear power is a great energy source. It's, you know, the E equals MC squared, so a ton of energy comes out this. But the problem with nuclear power is when it melts down. People are generally just scared of, you know, nuclear weapons, and, you know, for the right reason. But I think if you're trying to be logical about this, having a nuclear facility that creates energy that's far away from people and it's, you know, never had a meltdown. Not all nuclear, you know, places have meltdowns. So the meltdown fucks everything up. So don't get me wrong. locally, globally. A nuclear meltdown will fuck up a lot of shit. But there's no carbon footprint. There's no toxic emissions in the air, but there is that slime and all that shit, the toxic waste that comes from. So, but then again, electric cars comes from, we're going to have electric. Everything's going to be electric, so it's all going to come from coal. I understand they're trying to push the clean, renewable, zero-emission thing, but by changing everything to electric cars, I think it helps. But does it fix it? I don't know. So I like to expand in high-speed rail to a scale where air travel stops becoming necessary. I think that's incredible. All these countries, China, Russia, have high-speed rail. It'd be awesome to get on a train and just go from L.A. to New York City in, 5 hours. That'd be badass. Regular trains go so goddamn slow. Those airports, I can't stand those whatever people. TSA assholes. They're more likely to be criminals than you are, and they sit there and harass you. You should harass them. Do you have a bomb, TSA? I mean, you have the inside access. There was a comedian that said they take your water. If you have a water bottle, they'll take your water bottle because it might be a bomb, and then they'll throw it into a trash can right next to them in the lobby where all the people are, where the most amount of people. So, is this really about, safety? Essentially, I think it's for the middle class. It's just, a veneer. Hey, we're trying to do something even if it doesn't actually work. So anyways, MMT says the deficit is essentially irrelevant, short of inflation, as long as we're getting the economy that we want. So Japan has a deficit 3 times their GDP. The $22 trillion deficit, it just shows that Republicans are fucking hypocrites. We shouldn't borrow a shit ton of money just to be borrowing a shit ton of money. But I think creating jobs creation, this is one of the most important. Without a job, you have no life. In America, you work or die. You work or die. And so if people, none of this, and that's another thing, this protects capitalism. This protects capitalism. Yeah, there's public works projects, but it protects businesses, and it says that they should have an open and fair commercial environment. So there is public financing of things, but there's also the protection of capitalism that's put into this thing. You also have a right to unionize, to organize, to collectively bargain without intimidation.
We will stop it, and we'll stop it fast.
So you can't be intimidated or coerced or harassed when you're trying to organize a union at the workplace. Unions have been on the damn ropes for quite some time. They're not doing a good job. We haven't got Employee Free Choice Act. There aren't any unionizations. I wonder if maybe we need like a postmodern union, a professionals union or some shit, because unions historically have worked, but recently in these days, I think it's public education. We were taught to listen to a dictator. We didn't have solidarity amongst ourselves.
I am asking Congress to pass legislation that finally takes on the problem of global freeloading and delivers fairness and price transparency for American patients, finally.
So there's enact enforce trade rules, so they want strong labor environmental protections to stop industry from moving out of the U.S., so keep the factories here. They want to go after monopolies, so they want to be free from unfair competition and domination by domestic or international monopolies. So that's why a commercial environment and business people are protected. It calls for universal health care. It calls for safe and adequate housing for everybody, economic security for everybody, access to clean water, clean air, healthy and affordable food, and nature. So this is some great stuff. This is incredible. Who can argue against clean water, clean air? Who can argue against healthy and affordable food? Who can argue against safe and adequate housing? People argue against health care, but health care is life, so it just shows that they're evil, wicked pieces of shit. Every country in the world has universal health care, and yet people are like, I think it's a bad idea. Yeah, there's only 5% that's not covered.
Catalyst to entrepreneurship and creativity and the arts that we have ever seen. Because when Americans have their heads up and can think about the future, they'll be thinking about the businesses they want to start, the organizations they want to create, and really what they want to see in the world. So right now, many Americans have a mindset of scarcity, which is that we don't have enough, there's not enough to go around, we can't afford it. But the truth is, we are the richest and most advanced society in the history of the world. Our economy is up to $19 trillion.
So let's go to the criticisms, okay? So there's one problem that this author of an article that I read, he said that there isn't a plan for cities. I disagree. They're talking about having new buildings, updating technology to get new buildings so that they are not, emitting a bunch of toxic emissions either. So that's something for the cities. They're talking about the rural transit or urban transit. So they're talking about, trolleys or whatever, street electric lines. So free bus travel for people that live in the city, subway, whatever. So that's city thing too. But I guess what he's saying is that this is mostly for the rural communities. This is for everybody. But the money that's going to be spent is going to help the people that's in the coal companies and in the oil companies so they could transition to another job. But whereas these rural communities are being focused on, the author felt that the urban, the cities were being ignored. This plan supports family farms. It promotes universal access to healthy foods. There should be farmers markets everywhere. The government, local governments should have some facility where the farmers can come in, rent out a booth, and then people can go buy their fruits and vegetables instead of just, selling on the side of Dollar General out of their trucks, which, that's fine too. That's capitalism too. But the factory farms, getting family farms, supporting family farms, promoting universal access to healthy foods. A lot of these rural areas only have Dollar General to go to, so a bunch of processed shit, but no, meat or fruits or vegetables. So these food deserts in rural areas. So it supports family farms. It supports the idea of a family on a farm raising crops. What it doesn't support is these large industrial factory farms sitting there, putting out a bunch of fucking toxic pollution. It forces these large industrial factory farms to get their shit together. Now, the cows fart, they put a bunch of methane out into the world, so because of cow farting, that does some damage. So they want factory farms to get better technology, which they should, right? We're going to try to aim for clean coal. That's what all the Republicans say. We got clean coal. Well, I think it's an honorable goal. It's a, utopia. It's probably impossibility. But if we can get clean coal, if we can get clean cows, have them not farting so much methane, what are you feeding them damn cows, And so that because that's a focus, some people are going to sit there and try to make it, well, it's anti-cow and anti-farmer. No, it's just saying that we all got to do our part. We got a global warming crisis. So we all got to do our part. Save electric, get 50-watt bulbs. We all can do our part. And so because it mentions that the large industrial agricultural farms need to get their shit together, people are freaking out. But because it also protects universal access to healthy foods, that's, protecting the farmers' markets.
Yeah, again, couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly right. And I think that what you and I share is, in different contexts, a more meaningful connection with the voters. And I'll tell you why I say that. It's because we get hundreds of thousands of comments every day on our videos, every day. And so even if you just skim those a little bit, you get a sense of where people are. And you do not only inspirational speaking, you do Sister Giant conferences, you do all these things that connects you to millions of Americans. So you and I can see the despair, and it's you can see it in the numbers too, in the stagnant wages, but it just doesn't feel as real as when we run into real human beings that tell us about their pain.
So the devil's in the details, right? So Mitch is going to try to vote on this thing to try to crash it. But he's gonna, I think he's actually gonna inspire, and it's gonna get the fight even going. It validates it, so I don't think it's gonna get crushed the way everybody thinks it is. That's it. We'll vote on it, and that'll kill it. Yeah, you might be able to talk a bunch of shit, But people that are against the Green New Deal, so you're against unionization, you're against workers' rights, you're against safe and decent wages for workers. You're against having not just a right to unionize and a guaranteed job with a family-sustaining wage, with adequate family and disability leave, paid vacations, and retirement security to all U.S.ians. You're also in favor of monopolies. You're also says, fuck your health care, fuck your housing, fuck your water, and fuck your air. You don't want clean air, clean water, healthy and affordable food, nature. So universal health care, housing, I like all these things. There was one criticism that said that there's some Democrats that want to tackle global warming, but they don't want to do shit about the poverty. They don't want to do anything with the economy. That is such fucking bullshit. I don't want to work with a bunch of middle-class stuck-up yuppies telling the rest of us what's good for them.
You shouldn't have to run into it to know that millions of American children go to schools where they don't even have functioning working toilets. Millions of American children go to schools where there aren't the minimum school supplies to allow those children a reasonable opportunity to learn to read, in which if they do not learn to read by the time they're 8, the chances of their graduating from high school is drastically diminished.
Oh, that's what you want us poor people to do? Oh, that'll help you out. Okay, sure. Well, when the helping people economically, helping people out at UBI, there's no talk of a war. Think of all the oil that we use in warfare, the trillions spent on warfare. All that oil could have been used to build schools and hospitals and communities, parks, libraries. But instead of using all that money to, build libraries, instead we're going around bombing the shit out of people, killing people. What are we doing? So stopping war, helping the economy, ensuring that people have a better way of life, that all helps the planet. It all helps the planet. And last but not least, this is a non-binding resolution. So non-binding resolutions have congratulated Super Bowl winners, and they've also put their opinion to influence the president. The Senate in 2018 disapproved of Trump's trade policies. So congratulations, patriots. There's a non-binding resolution we all can get behind. Congratulations, patriots. You won the Super Bowl. Should we do something about global warming? Fuck you. So it's not law. It's a vision, and it's a vision for the future, and I fucking love every goddamn bit.
And when over 40 million people in our country are living in poverty. This is not an economy we should be proud of.
Of it. I like the ambition of it. The nuclear power, I'm pro-nuclear power. AOC is against it. So, I think we can have these disagreements. We can sort of wiggle this thing and make it better. But there's just so many good things. Universal health care, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed housing. Make sure we have clean water, clean air, and good food. Healthy food supports family farms. And we're cleaning up the environment, so there's environmental justice. We're thinking about the alternative energy sources. We're trying to get off of gasoline, so if we have a bunch of electric cars, it gets us off of oil, but it doesn't get us off of coal. So I don't think that electric is a good long-term thing, but a short-term thing. It actually seems like it would be badass. Instead of having to get gas or run out of gas, you just plug, into an outlet in the wall, and then that's how that's awesome. And then you also have clean electric too. So solar power, wind, hydroelectric. So electricity isn't necessarily coal. So I think the idea of going through a bunch of, everybody getting a bunch of electric cars, that's going to be great for Tesla. I bet Tesla's stock is going to be soaring after this gets voted on and probably slammed, but who gives a shit? Fucking Mitch fucking McConnell. He sent out all these he told people not to vote. He scared a bunch of old-ass Democrats in Kentucky, saying that if you didn't register correctly, you better not go vote, which is illegal by Kentucky law, but there was nobody enforces the law in Kentucky.
Have no health insurance. When 1 out of 5 of our people cannot afford the medicine prescribed to them by their doctors.
So I also really like that high-speed rail thing. High-speed rail where air travel becomes unnecessary. So it's very ambitious. We need to, reduce our carbon footprint. We need to have some kind of plan for global warming. We have no plan whatsoever. So we're just going to pollute all over the fucking place, and that's going to fix something. That's crazy. Come on now. So yeah, that's the Green New Deal. In 10 years, we're going to try to be carbon neutral, and then on top of being carbon neutral, we're also upgrading buildings and electricity grids, restoring ecosystems, decarbonizing electricity, transportation, and industry. We're creating jobs, providing for a just transition, securing clean air and water, getting net zero greenhouse gas emissions. So, good job for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Ed Markey on the Green New Deal. This is a position of strength. I actually wish it was more ambitious with a universal basic income and an end to war. An end to war. You don't think war is polluting the shit out of the world? All that oil that we use just to bomb a bunch of innocent people. So it's economically ambitious. I just love this. There's so many good there's just so many good things in there. So if you're a progressive and you're saying let's clean up the planet but not get universal health care, fuck you. If you're saying let's clean up the planet but not unionize or get, fair trade rules or guaranteed jobs or economic security, access to clean water, air, healthy and affordable food, and nature, you're anti-nature. So of course you're against the Green New Deal, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell hates democracy, wants a war for Venezuela, wants to steal the world's oil, wants empire, killed 1 million people in Iraq. He's just been a piece of shit. Frankly, because of Mitch McConnell, Kentucky could go fuck themselves. You guys have ruined it for all of America because you all don't vote or pay attention to politics, and you keep putting in, a fucking 40-year right-wing piece of shit. So anyways, thank you, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Markey. What's that, guys? Ed Markey. Thank you, Senator Ed Markey and Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Peace.